Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. We're down here in the barbershop studio. Did you hear the horn, Jarrett, that I sounded for the podcast?
I did. I don't know if you're going to leave that in or cut it out. It was it was like setting off an air horn in like a retirement home. It didn't really go with the vibe.
What's nice about editing and post is that I can make that sound however I want to make it. I can make it louder. I can make
you
it
can make
softer.
it a different sound. You could even make it Chumbawampa. What was that Chumbawampa? Tub thumping? Well, what was the Mighty Mighty Boss band?
That one?
Maybe, yeah. Exactly.
Like I could do that. I could pretty much put anything I want in there.
You could.
It's going to be a mystery for you.
Week 13's over. We're up on week 14, and we have Champs League information.
We have all the information.
All the data points.
All the data.
People love data these days. They can't get enough of it. It's ruined baseball, apparently.
Do you want to go over Champions League first?
Sure. We could do that.
Round of 16, most teams have been selected. Some teams have been demoted down to the Europa. Some have been eliminated completely.
Some teams love Europa.
Juventus, Barcelona, Villarreal. No, not Villarreal. Sevilla. Who else? Who else is down there?
I'm looking it up, actually. I posted about this on the Boys and Bolos Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, please follow us at Boys and Bolos. I had it in the archive. Hold on. Pulling it up. It already gone through, apparently. It's crazy that stuff is really flying by. We're already in week 14. So, the teams that are already in the Champions League are Man City, Bayern, Chelsea, Dortmund, Inter, Real, PSG, Napoli, Club Brugge, Benfica, Liverpool, and Porto. Now, there are 4 spots left, and they are being fought over by Tottenham, Sporting, Frankfurt, and Marseille.
All of Group H.
Which are all in the same group. Milan and Salzburg, which are in Chelsea's group.
D, sorry.
And Leipzig and Shakhtar, which are in Real Madrid's group. And the teams that will play in Europa League are Sevilla, Barcelona, could still land in the Europa League, are Zagreb, Juventus, Maccabi Haifa, Rangers, Leverkusen, Ajax, and Atletico. And eliminated from the Europa League is Celtic, Copenhagen, and Victoria Plzen. So, the cookie is starting to crumble, but honestly, I just want to look at your group with Champions League because it's so ridiculous. We talked about this yesterday, but this is one of the rare groups where you get down to the last match day.
Each team in the group has 2 wins, so they're all within striking distance of.
Any team could go through, and any team could not go through. When I say go through, be top of the 2 top. Tottenham obviously is an 8. Sporting has 7. Eintracht Frankfurt has 7, and Marseille has 6. So, let's look at. You want to look at the last day, and we'll start to think about how this is gonna.
Tottenham are away at Marseille.
Okay, so you're playing the team that has 6. Okay.
I would say Marseille has played the poorest of all the teams. They get scored on a lot. I guess maybe not a ton. They have 6 goals against, but they don't have any draws, so it's trending towards them. I mean, Spurs on paper are better than them. They're better than every team in this group, and Spurs would be through if it wasn't for that last minute controversial call on Wednesday. So, and then it's a toss up between Sporting and Eintracht Frankfurt. I think Eintracht Frankfurt beat them. I don't actually know how any of this is going to roll out, but it could go either way.
If Spurs lose and Eintracht or Sporting win, Spurs are out. Spurs tie, they're through no matter what.
Yep.
If they lose, then there's a situation where they could be out. If they lose and the Sporting Eintracht doesn't end in a tie, then they're out.
Then it goes to goals against or heads up. I don't really know.
If it's a tie,
if all the games tie,
lose,
and Spurs lose and the other games
if Spurs lose, then Marseille goes in number 1, and then the other 2 teams would be on 8 points. Spurs would still go through. The only way you could not go in is if Spurs lose and either Eintracht or Sporting win. That's the only way that it works. So that's a low possibility because Marseille basically needs to win. Marseille has to win. Spurs only needs a tie to go through. And then Sporting or Eintracht, Eintracht needs to win, Sporting can tie. It's crazy. Anyways, you normally don't see Champions League groups out of 6 games. Normally by week 4, you kind of know when you're in.
It's almost as if the UEFA officials
don't want Spurs.
Wanted something exciting to go down in the last week of the group stage, and that's why the call.
Group D, shaping up to be the group of death. So Xavi came out and he's like, the La Liga is just as good as the Prem. And then people were like, bro, Atletico, Sevilla, and Barcelona are all in the Europa League. Meanwhile, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, and likely Spurs are all going to go on to the group stage. Geesh. Roma is going to be the only Spanish team in the group of 16. Now, they may win it again because they got the Ballon d'Or and they just have crazy vibes in Champions League. But
and then even in Europa League, because you got 2 teams that potentially could win the Europa League. You got United and Arsenal in the Europa League.
And Barcelona, probably Juventus.
But to say that the league is better than Premier League is a stretch at best. Or on the same level, sorry.
Yeah, I think actually they're on the same level when you just look at who's going to end up winning European competitions. Because the Spanish have won so many more competitions as of late than the English between Europa and Champions League. Obviously, this is super skewed by Real Madrid and Sevilla. Sevilla's won like 9 Europa Leagues probably in the last 2 decades. So, anyways.
Are we concerned about Man City's form? The fact that they drew to Dortmund 0-0. Erling Haaland got subbed at a half. And Erling Haaland is not scoring as much. Well, I guess he scored in the Premier League twice, but you know what I'm saying? Like, are we concerned
about it?
Are we thinking that maybe who's Haaland, we the collective sporting fans are just like people who have followed the city's disastrous Champions League, kind of run of
You're talking
form.
about City in Champions League?
City in Champions League.
Oh, I don't think City are going to win the Champions League. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think other teams are better teams. Yeah. And over 2 legs, I just think City are cursed. I don't know what it is. And I think Pep will overthink it, and I think Haaland will score a bunch of goals. But I don't know. I just think over the 2 legs in the knockout, I just don't think they can win 3 2-leg series and then a one-off. They've showed it time and time again they're going to choke. And there's like not easy teams to play here. Like they could draw, let's see, so are they going to finish first in their group?
Yes.
Okay. Right, they're going to finish first in their group. So they could get Benfica, not easy. They could get Leipzig or Shakhtar. Either one is a tricky customer. They could get Milan or Salzburg, tricky customer.
They actually technically finish in second if they lose. Dortmund wins by more than 2 goals.
They could get Inter. They could get Porto, or they could get Liverpool. No, they can't get Liverpool because it's not in the round of 16. You can't have the same country. Look, the Champions League is brutal. That's why it's so hard to win, because you're going to get weird matchups. And they could just match up poorly. Like, Napoli could run them into the ground. Napoli could play them differently. Napoli defend well. Inter could cause different problems. Lautaro Martinez is not a guy you really want to play against. So, I don't know. The Champions League is a juggernaut thing. It's really about lineups and matchups, and you need a little bit of luck. So, I just don't see them doing it. I think they're going to win the league. I think you're going to have a repeat of last year. They're going to win the league. Maybe they'll win another domestic cup, but they're not going to win the Champions League. And if I could bet, I'd bet against them. But we'll see.
Okay. Moving on.
Week 13. Was there anything in Week 13 that you want to call out specifically?
It was a weird week because I think it was coming off of a midweek game. I think a lot of teams either had fatigue, or they were thinking about Champions League or whatever, but
is this your excuse for Nottingham Forest beating Liverpool?
I was going to say Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool. Arsenal tied Southampton.
They dropped points, and Everton won 3-0.
Yeah, Everton won 3-0. I think Chelsea won, right?
No, we tied.
Remember
we lost points in the last second to Casemiro?
Yep.
Just like we lost points to Spurs at
United
home.
tied and
So
Spurs lost.
Stupid.
Spurs lost.
Yeah, it was a
weird week. Like for as a Spurs fan, it was a week to like pick up points on everybody else, and they didn't. Everybody just kind of stayed the same.
If you were a bettor this week, it was tough. It was a tough week.
Yeah.
Other than betting on City to win, which
the only way. Yeah, the only Nottingham Forest game is crazy. Like them, and then I know they're at home, and that's like whatever 12th man or whatever. But that game on paper, I know Dean Henderson played well, but Liverpool just were not firing. They have a bunch of injuries. Their midfield's old. They're still relying on James Milner.
I mean, Nottingham Forest is the
Trent
last in the
Alexander-Arnold.
Premier League. For all intents and purposes, it's a championship side. Liverpool was, a point away and having a better final away from winning a quadruple the first time in English history, not even 6 months ago. So I don't really know what's going on with Liverpool. I think you should have made the bet with John Scheimer. I think we're all wrong. When I say we, I mean most people. You were right about Nunez as of now. Unless he has an amazing end of the year.
But this is my point about Nunez and why I think I am going to be proven right. There was a sitter in the Champions League.
I know, I saw.
It was incredible that he missed this open net goal. He just does not have that. I don't know. He just doesn't have it.
He's just not technically sound in the box. I think he's more of a, and I need to find he seems like he's raw, early Luis Suarez, but even Suarez was way more technical. He was just perfect on the ball. So I don't know. I think he's going to struggle. I think Liverpool are in quite the hitch. They're currently in 8th after 11 games. Now they do have games in hand. Liverpool, I don't really know. Liverpool are going to struggle. It's crazy to me that I was worried about United. I mean, we called United not even finishing in the top 10 6 weeks ago, which maybe was a little premature because they're starting to figure it out. But Liverpool is the one I think that's on the outside of the 6. I mean, Newcastle is playing super well. Fulham is in 7th. They're still pressing the envelope. Now, I think they'll drop off as we get into the season. I just think the cream will start to rise to the top. But Chelsea, for me, is just brutal because we dropped 2 points at home to Spurs in the last 2 minutes. We dropped 2 points at home to United. And if we have those 4 points, we are sitting in 3rd, and we still have a game in hand. And if we were to win that game in hand, we would be tied with... No, if we had those 6 points, we would literally be 1 point behind Arsenal. In fact, we might even be first if we had all that. But we can't defend, and we don't have the composure.
And still struggling to score goals.
Still struggling to score. Well, we have Aubameyang and Sterling now, so I live in the metaverse. These are two guys who I was not ever excited about. I was never threatened by them. And now there are starting strikers. However, Kai Havertz did score a banger in Champions League off of Pulisic assist. So,
I think Sterling, for all the positives he has, he just does not have that last bit, that last little, whatever you call it, to get to score. I mean, he scores a few good goals every once in a while, but he beats the guy to the line and then flubs it out of bounds or makes a bad cross. He's been doing it for years. He's just fallen. I mean, I don't know. He's not a bad player. He's just not the answer to your problems. That's how I feel about him. He's a good player. He's just not going to be the game changer. He's not going to be your season changer. He's not going to get you over the line. He's a good contributor. He's a solid player. He deserves to be on the English, the England national team. I'm not trying to take anything away from him as a footballer.
Do you think he starts on the national team?
Over Bellingham?
Not over Bellingham.
Foden?
It'd be over Foden. It'd be over Saka. It'd be over Grealish. Kane's a lock, right?
I think he's better than Grealish right now. I think he's not. I think he's a better player than Saka, but Saka's on better form. You might have to play the guy who's on form, and Saka's a little bit better on form. He's scoring goals. That's the thing. Is Sterling scoring goals? No. Is Saka scoring goals?
Sterling's scoring goals.
Not that many goals. I mean,
I think he has more goals than Saka on the season. I'm looking it up.
I don't know if that's true, but
looking it up. Hold, please.
I still think that both of those players aren't Saka and Sterling aren't game changers in my opinion. But do they not? Does that mean they don't deserve to start? I don't know.
So Saka has at 11. He's played 11 out of the 13 matches. He has 4 goals and 4 assists. Now, it also needs to be taken into account that, Arsenal have been scoring goals for fun this season. And Raheem Sterling has played 10 out of 13 matches. 3 goals and 1 assist. So 1 less goal and 3 less assists. But I think that's actually a larger portion of Chelsea's goals percentage-wise.
Right.
So he's helping his team more, but that's skewed because Saka's team is really actually playing well and they're scoring so many more goals. I mean, right now the goal differential, Arsenal scored 25 goals. Chelsea have only scored 16 goals. So, anyways, neither here nor there.
Sterling deserves to start in Chelsea, right? Over
but that doesn't say anything. I know. We're starting like peg legs out there.
Starting Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I think we finally loaned out.
No, not Callum Hudson-Odoi. You're starting the other guy.
Who's the other guy? Ruben?
Yeah, Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, but he's in the middle.
They're the same person to me.
RLC, they're very different people. Same vibes, different people.
To the same player, I'm convinced.
Same Cobham training ground vibes. So the thing for me is Sterling was pretty good when he was back with Coutinho and back in Liverpool, and Liverpool had they have Under Armour sponsorships. What did they have? They had New Balance sponsorships.
Yeah, New
They were in a
Balance.
weird vibe then. And then he went to City. Gosh. And people constantly use Sterling. If you argue if Pep's a good coach, Eddie does it all the time. Look at what he did with Sterling.
What did he do?
What did he do, my G?
He didn't do anything.
Okay, he made him a little bit better, but not that much better. And that team was always going to be amazing anyways because you have juggernauts. They literally it's you know what City's like? It's like fucking Mortal Kombat. It's like Liu Kang spit out all of his spirits, and that's just Man City because they're just all these perfect players. Literally, Kevin De Bruyne's the best Belgian player. That's not an argument. Riyad Mahrez is the best. Oh, I'm blanking. Algerian player. Bernardo Silva, not the best Portuguese player, but he could argue behind Ronaldo, he might be their best. Going through the lineup. Phil Foden, England's best young player, probably their best attacking player, other than Harry Kane. Gundogan is Germany's best midfielder, other than maybe Kimmich going forward. I'm not really sure. Trying to think about who else they have on that team.
$1 billion of players.
Ederson is the backup Brazilian goalie. If Alisson gets hurt, it's an easy fix. Cancelo's one of the best outbacks. Their team is so freaking stacked. So, dude, that's who they are. They're Mortal Kombat. They're Liu Kang's spirit vomit. That's it. If you get the reference, I love you.
Liu
Kang's spirit vomit. But anyways, so let's go back to Sterling. I think Sterling peaked when he first got to City and he was playing really well in 2016, 2017, 2018. But he hasn't been a top player probably since the World Cup in 2018. I don't think he's been in top form since then.
Is he 28, 29 now?
Well, I don't know. How old do you think Sterling is? I think he's probably 27, 28.
Okay.
Which is insane because he's been around for so long, but also he's just started so young. Let's see. Raheem Sterling is... Why can't I see his stats? Raheem Sterling is 27. His birthday's coming up. He was born on December 7th, 1994.
So he's turning 28. Still got many years left in those legs.
He was born on the day of Pearl Harbor. Not a cool vibe, Raheem.
Can we move on past Raheem Sterling?
Or past Pearl Harbor?
Not past Pearl Harbor.
Never past Pearl Harbor. We can move on. Let's look at Week 14 and see what we got going on. I think there's a big game this week, and I looked, and I was like, oh, that looks like a good game. Start off with Leicester, Man City. Man City should win this. Newcastle, Aston Villa could be a really good game this week. What are your thoughts on that? Newcastle is really playing well.
Eddie Howe, he's got them playing better.
This is at St. James. I just don't see a way they.
Yeah, this team is obviously they spent a ton of money because now they have Saudi owners. So they got Gomares, who is really good. They're trying to get him on a new contract, so no other big club, prizes him away. They got Almiron playing well.
They got Isaac or Isak, who hasn't even really started to play yet because of injury, but I think he's just an absolute baller. Absolute baller.
Big news with Aston Villa. New coach.
Who do they get?
Unai Emery.
They get Mr. Good Evening. Unai Emery's back.
He's back.
Mr. Europa League King. Is this going to make a difference?
Villarreal. And now he's back with Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
Who's
do you think he makes a difference? I mean, they're what? They're 17th, I think?
No.
They're right above the drop?
No, they're not good.
No,
they're not.
Six,
Newcastle's much better than this team.
They're currently sitting 15th, but they're only 1 point above relegation, essentially.
No, they're not good.
No?
No.
What do they need to do?
Nothing. They need to sign a player or two in January.
So they do need to do something.
Yes, they need to sign a midfielder.
Okay. Who are they signing?
I don't know. Who? I don't know.
You're supposed to know.
I don't have the answers.
Oh, well, I guess they're screwed. So Newcastle beats Aston Villa.
I don't think they're going to relegate it, but I don't think they like are suddenly going to be with Unai Emery. They're going to suddenly be in like Europa League placing. Come on, get out of here with that.
No, they're not. If they finish top 10, it would be a huge success on their season because they've had a rough start. Bournemouth, Tottenham. You guys should beat Bournemouth. Brentford, Wolves. Ugh. Brentford and Wolves, I think, are two teams
that aren't good.
Wolves is in relegation. Brentford's
been 11th. On some
11th.
poor form. They let in goals like it's their job, dude.
So I think this is a 1-1 tie, and it's kind of boring. What do you think?
No. I think Wolves got at least 2 or 3 goals in them.
Still could be a tie.
No. I think Wolves will beat Brentford.
Okay. Brighton, Chelsea. Graham Potter. Potterball goes back to play against his old team. He goes back to the Amex. He will be booed. He sold his soul to Todd Bowley. He will be booed. He literally, like, what's analogous in pop culture? Like, what did he do? He, like, KD'd them. When KD went from Oklahoma City because he was just, like, ring hunting and he went all the way to Golden State. That's, like, it's kind of on the level, I think.
I mean...
He went for a payday. He sold out.
He didn't go there to win. He went there because Chelsea offered him...
Can you sell out?
Lots of
I had a conversation the other day. Can you sell out in the confines of capitalism?
That's true.
It's
kind of like
you can. You're just
really.
like you're just playing the game better.
Yeah, you're just operating within the.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I got $300 to go past go. Of course I'm going to take that. What do you think on this game? Because Brighton has never had more incentive to want to beat a team. They've got their ex-coach and they have Cucurella.
So, I'm just going to give you Brighton's last 4 fixtures.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tottenham 1, Brighton 0. Brentford 2, Brighton 0. Brighton 0, Nottingham Forest 0. And Man City 3, Brighton 1. Are we sensing? And then the game before this Tottenham game, Liverpool 3, Brighton 3. So they aren't exactly trending up.
Yeah, I mean, what they're trending towards is like 1.2 points a game. So they're more likely to get a tie than beat Chelsea is what you're saying.
They're not going to beat Chelsea.
You're right. Their most optimal outcome is a tie per the points they're taking per game on average, more or less.
I don't think they have it in them to score against Chelsea. Chelsea are better defense. They're not as good as they were last year, obviously, because they lost Rudiger, but they're still a decent.
They lost to Rudiger.
They got Koulibaly. They still got Silva, and Cucurella's not bad, and Fofana, and they have like decent defenders. Like I don't see like Brighton's attacking threats posing much of a issue to Chelsea.
Chelsea need to win this game because I think Tottenham and Newcastle are going to win. So we need to win this game. Also because if we lose this game and United wins, they're going to jump us, and that just feels wrong. So hopefully Chelsea win this game. Crystal Palace, Southampton, don't really want to even cover.
Don't care.
Fulham, Everton. Where are you on this? Because Everton played so well last week against Crystal Palace. Now it's Crystal Palace, but still, Everton looked fluid. They attacked well. They defended well. It was good transition. I liked it.
Is this the season Anthony Gordon starts being a baller and people?
He was a baller last year.
Yeah, but
Chelsea was trying to even get him. That's how much of a baller.
I know. Even Spurs are trying to get him too, and I think they're going to regret not getting him because I think he's going to be a solid attacking.
Is he in the English squad?
No, he's in the U21 squad or whatever.
I think you should take this kid to the World Cup. I know people are like, "Oh, that's crazy," because England is super stacked, but dude, he's so good. I think he's great.
It's going to be a tough game for Everton, regardless.
It's at Craven.
I think that Mitrovic has been playing really well.
1-0 Fulham.
De Cordova-Reid is good, and yeah, I would say 1-0 Fulham. That's probably right at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Liverpool Leeds. This is the game I was looking at when I was thinking about like a good game, because Leeds is in the drop, but so is Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool's kind of like a wounded fawn, but it is at Anfield. So what happens here?
Leeds lose
2-0.
Yeah.
You think they lose though?
They're just not that good defensively. They're super, super susceptible to being scored on.
Rumor mill: Tyler Adams is being looked at by Manchester United for January because they realize their holders right now are McFred and Donny Van de Beek. That's who they have to hold, or that's it. And so they're like, let's get a younger guy in. And with the U.S. owners, they're probably like, oh, it'd be cool to have Tyler Adams.
I would be good. If Leeds could get some money for him, I think it's a solid move because Tyler Adams being on Leeds doesn't move them up or down the table.
I think what they should try to do is get
No offense to him. He's a holder. So
no, that's fine. I think they should try to get $10 million swap for Donny Van de Beek. Done. Donny Van de Beek gets time. Tyler Adams probably continues to get time. Post World Cup, Leeds get some money. Everyone wins. Doesn't because whether you have Donny Van de Beek or you have Tyler Adams in the holding, I don't think it changed anything. Tyler Adams, I think, is so much better. I think he has much better vision, and he's also been playing a lot more in the last 24 months. But anyways, I heard that on the rumor mill. That's interesting. That Tyler Adams for me is a baller. A lot of people don't know about him. They're like, oh, he's this U.S. kid, plays on Leeds, like a subpar Premier League team. After the World Cup, he and Munsa are going to be our best players from the World Cup. And if Reina plays, he'll be up there too.
Reina, I was going to say Reina.
People already know Pulisic's name. Like he's won the Champions League.
He's not.
He's a household
and now
name
he's not like
when it comes
he's
from
not
American
the younger
soccer.
generation of American soccer anymore. He's
the
trending towards older.
Yeah, he's already a veteran for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the captain. So Tyler Adams and Munsa. If they can both be healthy for the World Cup, I think people are going to be very impressed by what they do in the midfield.
I watched Reina play
Against
Champions League.
Yeah.
He looked very good.
When he's on, he's our best player.
He's easily
pound for pound.
Him and Bellingham are the two best players on that team.
Yeah. Jude Bellingham's also rumored to go to Real Madrid,
Yeah.
I think, in January.
It's going to be Bellingham Dortmund's going to look for a payday on Bellingham, and they're going to just basically take the highest bid. And it's going to probably either be Real Madrid. I've heard United kicked around, but I don't think he wants to go to United at this point because they're freaking dumpster fire. They were up until like 3 weeks ago were dumpster fire.
I mean, Ten Hag is kind of turning the ship. The other thing about United is I think it gets some of the roughest press.
Yeah.
Like, they're never that. Well, the thing is, we did say that they were going to be screwed. This was the thing, though. In our assumption, I think we thought they were always going to stick with Harry Maguire. Since Ten Hag has taken him out, and now Varane's hurt, may not make the World Cup. That sucks. But since he's put in Martinez and even Lindelof, you basically just do not play Harry Maguire, your team will do better.
Absolutely.
It's an easy formula. And we're going to see if Southgate sees what's going on. If Southgate were to play Maguire, it's like, dude, have you been paying attention to World Club football?
Yeah, the only thing I will say is that like his other option for Southgate's other option is Dyer, because who's the other guy who plays in?
He's got Stones. He's got Mings.
No, Mings is trash.
Who are you thinking about?
He plays in another league. Tomori.
Oh yeah, Fiaco Tomori. He plays for AC Milan. Right?
Yeah. I think it's like coming down to like Tomori or Dyer is like the two options. If you
you should take them both, right?
Maguire.
If you had,
you take them both. But
if you had Tomori and Dyer next to Stones in a 3-back, and you have Kyle Walker and whoever else on the side, like Chilwell on the other side, whoever they want to do it, that's great.
The thing is that the reason why I'm biased because I'm a Spurs fan, but Dyer actually plays in the 3-back week in, week out. Yeah. Maguire's not playing now and doesn't play and wouldn't play in a 3-back. He plays in a 4-back, and he just is not going to fit into what Southgate's trying to do, which is defend, because Southgate is a defensive coach. He's not. You can tell, like they stick 5 defenders out every game. Like it's brutal to watch. Like that team should be scoring goals for fun, and they do score a lot because they play like shitty teams and all these friendlies or whatever. But when they play like good teams, it's just like Harry Kane up top, and like they're just booting the ball up and hoping that something happens. It's hard to watch.
If Southgate plays Maguire,
they're not going to win. They can't.
They're going to struggle.
They're going to struggle.
It's going to be rough.
And what they'll do is they'll take Maguire, they'll play him in the first couple games. It'll be a disaster, and then they'll have to figure it out. And they're gonna struggle because
you can't figure it out. If they lose the opener, I don't think it's going to happen. If they lose their opener, however, it's going to be tough. Like, you can't drop points in the group stage to teams you shouldn't lose to.
I mean, they could tie. They could tie and they'd be fine.
Sunday, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest. Arsenal should win this. If Nottingham Forest were to win this, it'd be like crazy upset after upset because Arsenal's still top of the league and playing very well. I see Arsenal taking all 3 points.
Though. It's at Emirates, so.
Yeah, it's all 3 points.
Yep.
United, West Ham. The two Uniteds face off. This is going to be at Old Trafford. West Ham last year at this point was really like 5th or 6th still in week 13, week 14. They're all the way down to 10th now. They are 6 points behind United, and United have a game in hand. I think United win this. I don't really see a way that they lose this. They're playing pretty well. They beat the shit out of Sheriff yesterday in Europa League, so I think United win this game. Are you in agreement?
At Old Trafford with the form, yes. But I don't think it's going to be easy. West Ham are trending on an upward trajectory. I wouldn't say like they're playing that much better, but they have 4 wins. Yeah, I think it's going to be tougher for United than they may underestimate West Ham.
As
Scamacca needs to start,
does.
not Antonio. I am tired of seeing Antonio play.
Antonio
football.
has not played well.
He's not played well.
He's not played well this entire season, to be honest. Because I had him on my
rough
fantasy
to
when he was
watch.
just rough.
Scamacca's better. Declan Rice, as long as he plays, I think he's going to be the key to stopping what they're trying to do with Anthony and Rashford.
Did you see what Anthony did yesterday in Europa League?
No.
So they were 0-0, but they had Sheriff just pinned back. And the ball gets zipped out to Anthony, and he takes the ball and he does like this little 360 thing. It was just showboating. And then he passed, and he overhit the ball to Casemiro, and the ball went out of bounds. Halftime whistle blows. Ten Hag pulls him out. And Scholes was like, oh, I can't believe he's showboating at 0-0. And seriously, like, you shouldn't show.
He does that thing where he controls the ball and he does that
as
like
he does
twirl.
like a circle.
That's the only thing he does. Like,
it's actually like if you try to do it on a field,
it's hard.
He makes it look easy. It's very like to do with that many people watching. Where if you f up, you're definitely gonna get taken out. He does it if you're up 5-0. Like, there's really no ever appropriate time to showboat. Like, if you're up 5-0, then you're just being an asshole.
Right.
If it's tied 0-0 and you haven't pinned back, you're still just being a douche. And so he gets pulled out at halftime, and I actually thought it was a good call. But I'm like, Anthony, what are you doing, dude? You've scored maybe 4 or 5 goals in this jersey. Like, if Ronaldo decides to do that, he can do it because he's a GOAT.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I was just kind of like...
He does kind of play... Like, it does seem like Anthony plays with, like, this chip on his shoulder. And I'm not really sure where it comes from. Maybe from playing at Ajax for so long and, like, not getting respect and going to a bigger league. Maybe that's he's, like, taking that attitude with him a little bit. But, like, he does seem like he kind of plays like that. And
it seemed like an immature move because the World Cup's days away. All the lineups I heard the other day have to be in by November 10th, which is about 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So if you're playing in Europe in a club, you need to stay on for 90 minutes. He probably could have scored a goal against Sheriff. It's not going to be a bad thing when you're trying to get in the Brazil squad, which is loaded with talent.
Yeah, he's not getting in the Brazil squad.
And he's peripheral at best.
Yeah, he's not getting... If he goes to the World Cup, he's not playing.
Right, he's peripheral at best. But, like... So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting. But let's go look at fantasy. Fantasy's been ridiculous. Molly has gone from 22nd all the way up to 10th, and she's right behind you, 2 points behind you.
I'm in 9th?
Yes.
Happy day. Top 10. I
am in 7th. I'm just bleeding points because last week I totally just dropped a bunch of points. Diego has made far moves. He's way up in 6th. Rafe Mahmoud is in 2nd. Will Hayden's still firmly in 1st. Mitch is in 3rd. Oz is somehow in 4th, but beware, Oz can pop off at any moment. Nick Bailey's down to 5th, and let's see who's in the basement. Noah Andrew, Matthew Stevens, and Cam. Come on, Cam. Those are all back. Jeff Cronin. Crohn's. Come on, man. Like, come on.
He's moved up.
They have moved up. Claire. Okay, Greg. So, anyways, what's his name? Will Hayden's still number 1. The question is, are you going to captain Holland this week due to his form and his potential injury?
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you.
You're asking me. I have to look at my lineup. I've been blacking out on he has an injury? Is that why he came out of the game?
Yeah, he got a knock.
Oh.
So the question
is, I don't have any other what am I going to do? What am I going to captain Mitrovic? Who am I going to captain?
I guess
Anthony?
I don't know.
Odegaard? Martinelli?
My
midfield's garbage, poo-poo caca.
Yeah,
I might have to make a move. I have to make a move to get rid of
I think I'll
Odegaard.
go with Mitrovic.
I might go with Mitrovic too.
He's playing at home against Everton. I'm like, dude, he might bag some goals. Everton's defense is their weakest point.
I got to get rid of Odegaard, I think.
Oh, for sure. He hasn't played well since like week 7.
I also think that maybe Nico Williams goes in my defensive lineup. He would have scored the most defensive points for me last week over Cancelo, Trippier, and Chilwell.
Really?
Nico Williams. Sleeper pick.
He's one of the most picked defenders.
Yeah,
because he's so cheap. He's like 4.2 or 4.5,
yeah.
And he does pick up points. So
that's hard to not captain the guy that scored me 26 points, half of my points last week.
I know.
It's really hard to not, because like
I just don't know if he's gonna play. If he doesn't play and everyone captains him,
and you captain somebody else.
That's why I'm thinking about captaining Mitrovic. It's a total gamble, but like you got to ride the vibes here.
Do we just not? Do you start him but not captain him?
Yeah, you play him, but you don't
play him,
captain
but you don't captain.
Yeah, so if he scores, you're making half the distance to the goal.
The other question I have for you, I'm going to read you 4 players, 4 midfielders.
Yes.
They're my midfielders.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me which one I bench.
Okay.
You
only want 3?
I only want 3 because I'm going to start 4 defenders
All
this
right,
week.
go ahead.
Martinelli, Anthony,
Yeah.
Gross.
Gross.
He's a Brighton player.
Yep.
And Odegaard.
Ooh,
Who
it's
do
interesting that you're a Spurs guy, but you have 2 Chelsea people in your midfield. I just want to point that
Arsenal.
out.
Arsenal.
So that's what I meant. 2 Arsenal.
I know, but Martinelli, yeah, it is, and I don't think Odegaard's worth it.
I just let Martinelli go, and I already had Odegaard in the season. I already let him go.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing with Arsenal is they've been playing so well. This is where I go back to your comment you made earlier about Holland. If you hit 8 threes in a row, right? Eventually, but you only shoot 40% from 3, you're going to have to miss 3 or 4 eventually. Like, it all is going to even out. So Holland at the end of the season is going to end with like 23, 24 goals. He's going to really start to slow down. He will have injuries. There's going to be an overall lull, I think, after the World Cup.
I think he scores 30 goals, but I don't think he's going to bag like
even if he
60
scores 30 goals,
yeah.
He's slowing down because right now he's on 17 and 13 games. So he'll have 13 in the next 30 games.
Yeah, he is a human being.
I think.
We think.
Well, he's like the Prometheus. I think he's from alien race, but anyways, it's conspiracy theory. So
you still haven't answered my question.
So let me go back. Odegaard and Martinelli started out the fantasy super, super strong. I think they've dropped off. I think it was a kick to the ego for Martinelli that he wasn't even considered in the Brazil squad, which I still think is kind of a tough call because I think he's actually great. And you just want him on the bench. So Odegaard, Martinelli, I would keep Gross. I would keep Anthony, and I would choose, and I'd probably go with Martinelli over Odegaard. But like I said, I let go of Martinelli this past week, and I put in Almiron. Almiron's Paraguayan, love it. Played in the MLS, need it.
Probably cheap too, right?
Cheapity cheap on that Saudi money. So I that's what I did.
Odegaard. So the problem is the matchups, right? For me, because Arsenal have a tasty matchup this week against Forest, and I think that Newcastle's matchup is a little harder.
It's true.
A little bit harder. They're still at home, but
it's true. But the one thing about fantasy is when you overthink it, you lose. So there's that.
But I can't. My issue is that I can't.
Why don't you play a 3-back? Why don't you do a 3-4-3? Why don't you just play 4 midfielders?
I want to get rid of one of the Arsenal players. I want to get rid of one of the Arsenal players. I'm not sure which one it is.
I would get rid of Odegaard. Odegaard scores less goals.
All right.
Martinelli has assists and goals. It's easy.
Man, you make it sound like I'm just an idiot.
Well,
well, maybe.
You said it, not
I
me.
am in 9th.
You said it, not
I'm
me.
only 1 point off of 8th, though.
That's cute.
And I could easily drop like 4 places. I could be like
You're so
16th.
fucking pessimistic. What you should say is I have the chance to go into 6th, and you're like, I could easily drop into 15th place obscurity.
Oh, man, my team's so rough. I got Reece James still on my team.
You got to offload that.
But I only have
that
one
dude's
free
not playing
transfer.
until 2023, man. Dude, I've been offloading players. I lose points, but I'm not going to have bum players, dude. You got to, even if you don't have the free transfers.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm literally like 5 points away from being in like 18th. Okay,
God.
it's not. It's tough out here. In the streets.
We done with the pod.
We're all done.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao. Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out.
You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.